It's Sasha Erickson. I hope you're all doing well today. Well, it is Monday, May 14th of 2018, and I have a little announcement for all of you today. In about 2.5 hours at 4:30 p.m. Norwegian time, 3:30 p.m. UK time, 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, 8:30 a.m. Central time, and 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, I will be having a live stream on Dark Wolf Den's YouTube channel. I will put a link in the description box below for his channel, as it won't be streaming live from my channel. It'll be streaming live from his channel. Basically, Dark Wolf has a Mandela Effect YouTube channel, and he's been reaching out to me for about 6 months to try to set up an interview. He was one of the interviews that I told you guys I was trying to do over last Thanksgiving and Christmas time, but I've had so much going on with traveling and immigration and everything else under the sun. So I haven't had a chance to reschedule that with him until today. So hopefully you guys will catch this in time to catch the live stream. I'll be there via chat, and probably for about an hour. And then if you don't catch it, I will make sure and share the link on this channel when the interview is up and complete, so you can go over and take a look at the channel. And please subscribe to Dark Wolf. He has a lot of really great content. He has a newer channel, so he really needs a lot of support. And yeah, he's covering some really great topics about Mandela effects and physics, and some very interesting stuff. So please be sure to check out that channel for the live stream later today. Now, the last time we talked, I mentioned to you guys that I was going to London, England soon to write the Mandela Effect book, Volume 2. So I'm leaving about a week and 2 days from now. And I'm very excited because I did receive one very kind donation last week. I don't know if I'm supposed to share your name, but you know who you are. I'll just call you RM. I never know if people want to be anonymous or not for stuff like this, so I never want to share anybody's name unless they give me permission. But I got a very lovely donation of $100 to help start writing Mandela Effect Book Volume 2. It costs about $100 per chapter for me to edit these books. And the last one, it was, how many chapters did we have on book number 1? We had 8 chapters, so gives you an idea of how much goes into this work. And the reason I'm collecting donations for it, of course, is because all of my work is self-published. It's very hard for publishing companies to be willing to publish a book about the Mandela effect, and most other conspiracy theory topics are a little bit taboo for a lot of these publishing companies to touch right now. So it's really up to us and our community to get the word spread. And for those of you who don't know, my first book, the Mandela Effect book, Volume 1, has done very well. It's still within, when it premiered, it was #1 in genetic engineering on Amazon, and it still stays in like the top 10 of the genetic engineering category on Amazon almost every week. So it's doing really, really, really well thanks to all of your support. This really has been a grassroots project. So today for the live stream, I will be announcing to everybody that I'm going to be writing Volume 2 actually next week. So please, if you haven't had a chance, please check out the GoFundMe campaign. Link is in the description box below. And it's where you can help donate to make this work happen. Now, basically, you can donate anywhere from like $1 to $100 or $5 or $10. It doesn't matter. And if you'd like to have your name included in the thank you and dedication section of the book, then please just leave me a little note. You can share an experience with me if you have one. I have a lot of content for book 2, so I probably will have an overwhelming amount of information, and most likely end up with a Volume 3 after this, because I don't think I can fit everything into these 2 books. It's very extensive when it comes to the research of the Mandela effect, and it just kind of never ends. Now, I know last time I was with you guys, I was reading chapter 2, I think it was, of the Mandela effect. Yes, but before I get into that, I wanted to show you guys something really crazy. Now, one of the most recent effects that I heard about was on Moneybag's channel, and he was talking about another Marilyn Monroe Mandela effect. Now, I've been following Marilyn Monroe's life for many years, over 20 years. I've been really obsessed with her story and who killed her and how all that stuff went down. So I have an extensive amount of books about Marilyn. And this one's really, really, really old. This used to belong to my grandmother, who's now passed away. But to give you an idea of how much research I do when I'm researching Marilyn, just about every book I have is highlighted to this extent. Because I've just been very called to what exactly happened to her, you know? So what I thought was very interesting is that on Moneybag's channel, I mean, it never ends with my highlighting, okay? I've been really studying this woman's life a long time. But the main thing that popped out to me was that Moneybags was saying that her name was now Norma Jean Baker. And it wasn't that it was just Norma Jean Baker, but that her name was spelled J-E-A-N, like J-E-A-N-E. Sorry, J-E-A-N-E. Norma, J-E-A-N-E, Baker. Now, what's funny is that her father was actually a Norwegian guy who her mom, I don't even believe, married. It was kind of like a one-night stand thing. And his name was Edward Mortensen. And the reason I know this is because my third grandfather, so my great-great-grandfather, was named Edward Mortensen. And he was also from Norway. So when I was studying her life, I freaked out. I thought, whoa, is there a chance this could even be my grandfather? Turned out not to be, but it was so significant that I'll never forget reading about her birth certificate and like what happened. Then another strange coincidence, my grandmother, my father's mother, is named Jean, J-E-A-N. So there was another reason that I absolutely knew Norma Jean's name. And I thought, oh, she's even got my grandmother's, you know, her middle name is my grandmother's first name. So there were so many little things I remembered about Marilyn. And when Moneybags shared this video to say that her name was actually Norma Jean Baker, J-E-A-N-E, Baker, and I thought, this is just not right. Now, her mother's name was Gladys Monroe. It was like Gladys Baker Monroe. Either Monroe was actually her mother's maiden name, or it was Baker that was her mother's maiden name. But Baker and Monroe, which is where she got the Marilyn Monroe from, and her mother's name was Gladys, this is where some of these other last names could have popped up. But on Monroe's birth certificate, on Marilyn's birth certificate, it always was read as Norma Jean Mortensen, J-E-A-N. So now I was like telling my husband, like, there's just no way that this could be right. And I said, baby, I'm just going to go look upstairs at some of my books. You know, I have hundreds of these. So then I find another book of mine in the same fashion. This one is here, The Many Lives of Marilyn Monroe. As I'm reading through here, again, here I am with all my underlining. And on page 4, we have the Elton John song actually quoted here. And it says, "Goodbye, Norma Jean. Thought I never knew you at all. Goodbye, Norma Jean. From the young man in the 22nd row who sees you as something more than sexual, more than just our Marilyn Monroe." So, when you look here, look at the lyrics. What does that say? Goodbye, Norma Jean. Now, what's even funnier is you look up here. Now we have Norma Jean with an E, and then we have Norma Jean Baker. But it's all on the same page. But don't you think that's a little bit strange? So in this one book, and it's page 15, so you guys, if anybody finds this book online, Many Lives of Marilyn Monroe, written by Sarah Churchwell, on one page alone, we have the multiple changes. So I think that's very strange. So then I'm looking around even more, and up here, it's doing the same thing again. Let's see. Sorry, guys. It's really hard to read this way. Yeah. So we have Norma Jean with an E, J-E-A-N-E, and then we have Norma Jean with a J-E-A-N-E, and then J-E-A-N. Now, This could easily be misspellings, right, guys? No. I'm an author. I've written books. When you are writing a book, you have to edit and re-edit and re-edit and edit and re-edit over and over again. There is no way, if someone is writing a book about Marilyn Monroe's life, that they're going to misspell her name. Or Elton John, for instance. Do you really think he's going to write a song about Marilyn Monroe and get her name spelled wrong? No way. So I was going to just read more of the Mandela Effect book today, but that was just blowing my mind. I thought, okay, what the heck is going on? The other strange thing about Marilyn Monroe, we've had a lot of changes with her, like her beauty mark changing. What's even really strange about this book, she doesn't even have one on this book, and she definitely did when I bought it. So now her mole is missing. Crazy, right? And then, I don't know if you guys can see it, but right here, I had the Marilyn Monroe piercing. I still have the scar. I probably just can't see it. But right there is where it always was. And now whatever images exist have it like way out here somewhere. I was even just trying to find pictures of her mole in these books, and it's like almost every single picture is in a different place. So I don't know what is going on with this, or why Marilyn, of all people, has kind of been targeted as part of all these changes. But the strangest thing is that, like I said to you guys, I've been completely obsessed with this story and really why this all happened. What was her real connection? And you guys know I wrote, my first book was called Diary of an Asset, and it was all about mind control and people who had been in MK Ultra and stuff like that. Now, if you do any research about MK Ultra, you will find that Marilyn Monroe was said to be one of the first victims of this in the celebrity category. Now, mind control had been used on soldiers and in wars and all this other stuff many times to control masses of armies since the Hitler days. But as far as the program MK Ultra to directly affect celebrities, she was the first test patient that this happened to. She was heavily involved in this. We all know she was connected to John F. Kennedy. We all know they were having an affair. It was also said she was having an affair with Robert Kennedy, his brother, and that she might have possibly been pregnant at the time that she was killed. And she did not overdose. No way. She definitely was murdered. That's one of the reasons I have these books with so many lines, is because someday I'm going to write a book about who really killed her, because there's unmounting evidence happening. But I just wonder, you know, is there something a lot deeper with this Marilyn Monroe Mandela effect? Is there a connection possibly to mind control? I've always thought the Mandela effect could be heavily affected by mind control as well. One of the newest things that I'm studying, and what my degree program is right now, is I'm studying psychology and cognitive behavior. And I hope that, I'm finished in about 1.5 years. I'll be a clinical psychologist, and I hope to use this information to help in some way deprogram people who have been mind controlled. Because I think this goes beyond, we have one level of mind control that's happening all the time, and that is media, television, commercials, news, newspapers, magazines, whatever, right? But there are these individual programs where individuals are individually targeted to be controlled. And this is just about every celebrity you will find on television right now. It's almost so obvious, specifically the music artists right now, that they're not in control at all. Look at Kanye West. You know, I lived in Chicago many times, and I knew people way back in the day that grew up with Kanye that were like his cousins and related to him. And I have watched this crazy kind of transformation and attack that has happened of this man. And one of the main things I'm seeing about what they're saying about him right now is that he's out of control, that no one can control him. And I just feel like they keep trying to. It was just 1 year ago that he was at his concert, the Pablo tour, and started praising Donald Trump. This was almost like November of last year. The day after he did that, he was put into a mental hospital by his wife and mother, by Kim Kardashian and Kris Kardashian. And then he went missing for like 4 months. There's a really great guy on YouTube called The Black Child. If you check him out on YouTube, he has a video called Where is Kanye? And it's very strange how he just disappeared. Now, everybody knows it's not popular to like Donald Trump. Now, all you guys know, I voted for Donald Trump. I've been attacked for it a million times. I have a laundry list of reasons as to why I voted for him. So that's not what this is about. But what it is about is that how sad is it that it's not okay for an artist to stand up and support somebody just because everybody else doesn't like him right now? I was watching episodes of The Apprentice from like 10 years ago, back when everybody loved Donald Trump, and you would see people from every walk of life, every race, every religion, every background, every age, everybody praising Donald Trump as if he was some type of a god, right? Fast forward 10 years later, and if you even mention that you like this person, especially if you mention that you voted for him or any way, shape, or form of support, you're called a demon. You're called a racist. You're called a white supremacist, all this stuff. And even though we're almost, a year and a half, almost 2 years into the election now, that is really racism and bigotry and bias. That's judgment. It's being judgmental. So if we are such open-minded people, especially those of us in the spiritual community, why are we attacking anybody who has their own opinion? I believe that maybe Kanye West doesn't even like Donald Trump right now. He's just trying to prove that it should be okay for people to have opinions different from ours. So why am I going off on this rant? Fact of the matter is, I believe that Kanye West has been a victim of this mind control as well, and perhaps he's breaking his programming right now. So will we soon see R.I.P. Kanye? Is that the next step? You know what I mean? They can clone and replace him, or they can just take him out. I don't know, but I feel like it's just really intense, this mind control. So was Marilyn Monroe, that's really how this started, was Marilyn Monroe, we all know, was the first victim of mind control. Now, is there a connection to mind control and the Mandela effect? That's really what I'm trying to get at. I've even heard Kanye West making comments about stuff that pertains to the Mandela effect and time travel and all these different things. So is he just being demonized and shut down and called crazy because he's really onto something? Is he acting crazy and out of control because he's trying to break out of being mind controlled and being programmed by his handlers, who are most likely his wife and his mother-in-law? And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, really do some research about MK Ultra mind control. This is no conspiracy theory. This was started back in the 40s by our government to control people, to control the masses, to control the narrative of the masses and control the narrative of the media. This is going so much deeper than I ever realized with this Mandela effect stuff. And now I know where I finished 2 years of theology and kind of covered all the biblical changes, but now I have to get over to the psychology side of things, because I truly believe as humanity, we are being controlled massively by the media. If, we turn on every day the news to be told what new thing to be afraid of, what new war to be afraid of, what world leader to be afraid of, we're not encouraged to be creative or to think outside of the box or to use our own thoughts or our own free will. No, we are totally told what to do, what music to like, what clothing to wear, what president to support, what political party to be part of. You name it, we are being completely controlled. So I hope that as the Mandela effect unfolds and more things come to the surface, we can get to the bottom of what's really happening out there. Have our minds been controlled to believe that we're seeing changes of the Mandela effect? Or are those of us who cannot be mind controlled, or those of us who have broken out of our mind control, are we the only ones able to see it? Let me know your thoughts in the description box below. Please check out the GoFundMe Mandela Effect Volume 2 donation page, which is also in the description box below. And please check out my live stream with Dark Wolf in about 2 hours from now. And I'll have a link to his YouTube channel in the description box below. Okay, guys, I love you ever so much, and I will be back with more.